So that's the crankcase oil sealed in. Now I'm fitting new lower case studs, because as you can see the old ones are very bent and worn and tired out. So what I use is 8.8 10mm 120mm long AZ standard. Cut them down and grind the ends off nicely and prepare the piece. I'll just show you. That when it's wound in, this is the one that's open. You can put your finger behind and you can feel it. 60mm. No, sorry, 70mm. Okay. Wind the stud until it sticks at 70mm. Bit of thread lock will not do any harm. I'll get on with that now then. Little drop of thread compound. And back in she goes. You can put your finger at the back of the casing and you can feel when the bolt comes up. There we are. Must be about there. Yes, that's all right. Okay. Same thing for the other side. And there we are, just coming up to 70. It shouldn't force. Okay. Now on to the next bit. Now we are ready to torque down the flywheel. The flywheel is being put into position. It's got its 5 bolts. It's got its new shim. I have my trusty flywheel locker. I have my sort of safety bar, 17mm socket. You've got to put 110 Newton meters of force. So here, if I can put down 100 Newton meters, we're doing fine. I will in fact do this on the floor somewhere east of Lagos by the look of it. And this is just for demonstration purposes. So go around evenly, apply the same force. Good luck to you. We're well on the way now. That's me all my way. And that will do. Now I'm going to show you building up the CU engine until it finally starts and runs. Okay, so from where we were in the previous video, the next thing is you mount the engine support bar, cross mount, right? 4 bolts. Check that the rubbers are all in good condition. These have been changed, and as you can see, because they're aftermarket ones, they don't fit very well, so somebody's had to do that and so on. And then once that's tightened down, then you can fit the cross mount, and the cross mount has an arrow, look, you can see it pointing forward on the engine. In other words, the arrow points that way. Okay, so I'll set that up for you now. Torque up to 30 Newton meters. Now we can fit the engine bar. Okay, so we now have the engine bearer loose to put in. If you put the bolts up that way, It gives you a little more clearance on the oil filter. Do the other side for symmetricality, but these have to be round with, and then that's that torque down. And now we can start doing the dry run for the heat exchangers. Okay, so we're going to get ready to dry fit the exhaust now. First thing to note is that the gaskets are handed. Can you see? Like that, like that. They are different, so get them round the right way, please. And then I'm going to just offer them up into position. Right. Well, now you can see that's the exhaust gaskets in correctly. I would suggest that you have a store of locking washers, M8 nuts and ordinary washers and a long wongly stick, and then we can just offer the exhaust gently into place. When you want to get to the difficult to get at ones, here's a little tip, look, put 2 nuts into your spinner. And that way you can get it started that much more easily. Okay, it's just a gentle fit for the moment. We're going to fit the other side and see how well all the glorious exhaust system lines up. So that's the heat exchangers nipped up tight. Now we're going to place the exhaust gaskets, and we're going to do the same thing, a trial fit of the silencer. Right, so that's the IDW3 exhaust system fitted. It's all been tightened up progressively with the nice big gaskets in the L-ring kit. No goop. There we are. Now we can fit the bottom plates and then turn the engine over. Well, here we are, getting ready to fit the underplate, and there where the screw hole is supposed to be, there is a broken stud, so I'm going to have to deal with that. These underplates have suffered a bit. They're all distorted, so if you have a little metal bar and place it underneath with a few weld-placed taps, you can get rid of most of the damage. Okay. Same thing on the other side. So there we are, left and right, or right and left depending on which way you look at it. Plates in with the little socket caps, that's the repaired one, and there we are. So that's basically the underside of the engine done. We can now put the engine onto the stand. So we spent a bit of time starting to straighten out this tinware and get it to fit. This engine had various bits of tinware missing. There's still one missing, but that's not too bad. The support bracket for the exhaust was all broken and had to be fixed and welded up. And because we're carrying a Jules Fandango exhaust, I thought I'd better put a reinforcing bracket on this side as well. There's some tinware missing, so I'm having to use Eberspacher type heater hose, and it will clear the exhaust. I've checked it out. Dipstick holder was missing. This is the foam that I put round so that it goes nice and airtight on the tinware, and you will notice that there is no crossbar, and in fact right hidden down in here somewhere, you can't see it from here now, there's no pulley, there's no thermostat, it wasn't fitted, and we're going to run this as a cool running cruising camper engine, so it's not going to have any hot start assist, cold start assists rather, and such like. It's going to be stripped down to the very basics so that we run nice and cool. And so to this effect, because the flaps, which weren't there anyway, had been taken out, this piece I fabricate up so that you have a constant feed, look, you can see, straight round to the oil air cooler, which helps matters along nicely, and then this is then covered up and so on. What have we done around here? All the tinware's fitted in place, and so on. So I'm going to carry on dressing up the tinware and getting that squared up, and then we'll take it from there. Since there is no cold air preheater flap valve, we can just blank this off so that we get better airflow. There we are. Okay. Like that. Now we can tidy that up. That's better. See, nice and airtight all the way around. Okay. Well, here we are at midday, as it sounds, midday. So we're all tinwared up, right? Mechanical side has been done. Tinware is on. Little foam pieces and little line of silicone where there was an air gap and so on. It's all dried off and ready to go. Okay, so now we can start looking at the carburetors. Okay, and here they are in all their glory. We're going for a multicolour engine in chromatic. Right, they're nice and clean, obviously. At first glance they don't look too bad. They've obviously been worked on, but consistently. So anyway, so now as far as fitting the carburetors to the engine, as far as fitting the carburetors via the inlet manifolds to the engine, here are the gaskets. These are, as if you like, these are as far as you go on the gasket set with the Victor Reintz kit, right? Afterwards, for all that's everything in gaskets from here to here, if you like, that comes in the MP kit. You need two kit, one for each carb, obviously. But in the first instance, we're just going to do a trial fit on the engine just to make sure that everything is there, and we're also going to tighten down and fit once and for all the inlet manifolds, because that's the gaskets and that's it, whereas we know we're going to be taking these carbs apart. Okay, various other bits all nearly prepared, so I'll get on with that. So first of all, we put in the cylinder head to inlet manifold gaskets, bump to the outside, and then we are going to fit and tighten the inlet manifolds. Here we are mounting up the inlet manifold with the carburetor on it. In order to get to these nuts easily, you'll have to use thin walled. Now then, what we want to do is put some more oil into the engine. We've already put enough oil just to reach the bottom of the dipstick, and so now with the little squirty can, clean oil going around, we're going to put it in through the oil pressure switch. The reason for doing this is that way we fill the oil cooler and the oil filter without too much trouble from above, and then are we fitting the temporary oil pressure gauge for engine startup. Okay, I think that's clear. So that's the engine now primed, in that we've put oil through there. It's taken about 300 mils, a third of a litre in there, and the dipstick, which doesn't change, it's just there, but when you put the oil in there it doesn't raise the dipstick level here. Okay, this is now the oil gauge that's been fitted for when we set the engine up. You will also, so that's the effectively the oil cooler filled, little trickle back down to the pump, and you will also have taken the precaution of filling your old oil filter with clean oil. This will all help during the startup. Well, here we are with the Type 2 CU engine built up and running. With no cold start assistance apart from the electric chokes on the carburetors, and we're using a PowerSpark SVDA distributor, which is all running off the left hand card. Right, it'll be a bit noisy, so I'll go around and put subtitles in or something afterwards. Here we go. Right hand carb, blocked off at the back, blocked off at the front. I'll show you how to set the carbs up. SVDA, single vacuum diaphragm advance, AccuSpark, Guinness, master carburetor. This is blocked off at the moment because this would be for the servo brakes. I think that'll do for now.